This is a fun case. It's actually something I love because it's very versatile. Whatever size paper you have is it's the same fold, but depending on the size paper, you get all kinds of different things. Like this is a checkbook cover, and see, it's got my checkbook in it, and you could put receipts and all kinds of stuff in that. This one I noticed has a straight. It doesn't have like a little pocket, and some of them do. Like this one, that's fake money, by the way. I wish it was real, but this has a little slight little fold, which we'll do that, probably that version, but I'll show you that's pretty much, these are the same size. They hold money, and this size is 14 inches by 15 and a half. And I went through my house. I realized that I didn't have paper that size, so I cut some butcher paper out, and I folded one just to make sure I remembered how to fold it. I just used butcher paper, and it makes a fine little, it's not as strong as the other papers, but I was able, and I colored it with colored pencils, and I realized when I put the wax on it, the colored pencils dissolved, and so I made a huge mess. But anyway, but that's the 14 inches by 15 and a half to make that size. And then for a credit card or a business card, you would fold this out of an 8.5 by 11. And that's what I'm gonna do the demo with an 8.5 by 11. This is a real versatile size as well. You can put lots of cards. You can put your credit cards, gift cards, anything like that in it. This is out of a 6-inch by 6-inch. And this one is cute because you can put stamps or little needles, little threaded needles would be kind of cool. So, if you want to take it with you on a trip or you want to mend something, the needles would fit really nice in there. And you could put some, different colored threads or something. That might make a really fun thing, especially when we do that art of mending class with Tanya in a couple weeks. So I have different papers now. What I would really like to do is suggest, here I'm going to move these out of the way. They're in the way. There we go. I suggest that you use double-sided paper because when it's colored on both sides, you get, both sides are colored. So like if it's just white, you see it's just white. But that's, you can paint the insides. There's all different things you can do with it. But since I'm going to do an 8.5 by 11, which is this size, and I also have one for the passport case. I painted that butcher paper because I didn't have paper big enough. But the passport case is 12 inches by 16 inches. So just basically those sizes, 12 by 16, 14 by 15 and a half for the money holder, and 8.5 by 11 for the card case. Those are kind of the basic sizes. So I'm just going to do this demo, and then I'll fold again with you right after we're done here. But this one, I'm going to start with my paper side, my colored side down, or pattern side, however you do it. And I'm just going to fold it in half. And I'm opening it up, and I'm going to fold it in half, again, like a covered fold on both sides. And then I'm going to make a little hem, like a little, it could be 1/2 inch, doesn't have to be exact, but just something to just a little hem on both sides. And then the next thing is I'm going to fold these corners down. These outer corners are going to be folded to that first crease on all 4 corners. Okay, so now I've got basically, you can see kind of how it's starting to form together. So I've got this going on here. So the next thing, I'm just going to keep it folded. Now I'm going to, this is going to be the length. This is the width, and this is the kind of the length of it. So what I do is I make a hem, I make another little hem, and I usually use it's not perfect, the measurements aren't exact, but I do like about 1 inch, a little bit, maybe a little bit more. this is about 1.125 inches. And what I've done here is I'm folding this down, but I'm also creating little tabs. See, these are like pockets. I mean, these will be pockets to hold the rest of it. So I've got my little pockets over here, and now I'm just going to take the whole thing and I'm going to fold that up to meet, just to lay right on top of the fold that I just did, right on top of the pockets, and creasing. Now, normally I would tuck this in right now. I would tuck these into the pockets, but usually when I do that, this kind of wrinkles up a little bit. I don't know if you can see it's wrinkling a little bit. So the way I narrow that is I just kind of gently pull my, I just gently pull maybe 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch, and then I recrease. So I've got myself just a little, it's just become a little more narrow on that end. And then when I tuck it in, it lays way flatter. So now you can see it's laying flat. Now the last step. Now if I wanted to, if in the past I would have just done this and it would be done, but what happens is it springs open. It just does that, and that drives me crazy. I like it to be closed like a book. So to make a spine edge, right now I've got this crease that's right here in the center, and I want to have a spine edge. So what I do is I take this one side and I fold it to about, I just kind of to that 1/4 inch, well, maybe that's about 1/4 of an inch. And I go just short of that, and then I'm going to make a nice crease, and I'll turn it over. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to bring this edge to the same place, about 1/4 of an inch under that spot there. And what that does, I'm creasing, what that does is it gives me a nice little spine edge that kind of makes it so that I can, it stands, it behaves like nice, it plays nice. So now I can add my cards. And what's nice, I love this because you have 2 slots for cards here, and you also have 2 more for here. So it's really handy for taking, credit cards, hotel keys, things like that. And so that is the fold. And so when you do it with the larger one, and I'm going to do the larger one, and then just to go over the folds again. And then of course we'll fold together. So basically on the other side, or this is the larger one, I'm just going to show you. It's the same exact folding sequence. You open, fold it in half, and then bring the 2 edges to the center, kind of like a cupboard door. This is to fit a passport. Not that I needed one lately, but anyway, in case. So I'm going to do a little hem on both sides of this, a little hem. And then I want to fold these corners. And this I actually painted this paper using a brayer. I just rolled paint, dribbled it on and then rolled it with the brayer. And I love the way it came out. And just with acrylics. So I'm just going to fold these and these. Now the same thing, folding it back. And now I'm going to turn it over, make a hem so that I have some pockets to tuck the other end into. I think this should fit a passport, but maybe not. We'll see. I don't even have one on me. I think it will. So there we go. I'm just going to lay that right on top and make a nice crease. And since I want to narrow that, remember I narrowed it. So I'm going to just bring this little corner, just bring it in a little and give it just narrow it just a little bit so that when I tuck it in, it will lay nice and flat. This can be used for other things, for notes, you can size. So now I'll make the spine edge. You can decide, well, I want to, make a cover for something I have, and you just have to just kind of play around with the sizes to get the measurements the way you want them. And you can make this book or this cover for many things. So here's my passport case. And there it is. So, or I can use it for photos, or I think I probably want to make a bigger one for photos. But so that is that. And so 8.5 by 11, 12 by 16, 14 by 15.5. And where's that little cute one? This one is 6 inches by 6 inches. So those, and I thought for fun, maybe on the next one, I'll do a square and see. It'd be fun to fold a large square. So that's the instruction for this case. So I'm going to open it up so we can fold together. And everybody, if you want to unmute yourselves, we can just fold together. Everybody, here we got the 8.5 by 11. If you have any questions, go ahead and just chime in. Does everybody have a sheet that they can work with? Yay, okay, good. All right, so let's fold. So if you fold it in half, the paper in half with the colored side down, unfold, fold fold your outer edges to the center crease on both sides. And unfold. Now I think to get to, if I don't want to have those little weird edges, I don't know if I want to call them weird. I'm trying to remember how I did that. I'd have to take this one apart, because if you want it so that you don't have, so that you have like a nice flat edge, I'll just want to see what I did. And that's the thing that you can do with these. You can just, it's easy to take apart. This one looks like, I see that the hem is just much bigger. That's what that is. So basically on that one, I made the hems much, or not the hems, but I know what I did. I'm gonna do that with this. Okay, I just had to go back into the recesses of my memory. So I'm gonna make my little hems like I did on the other ones, on both sides. And they don't have to be exactly the same, but these are approximately 1/2 inch, give or take a little. So same thing, I'll just fold my corners like this on both sides. Okay, so now.
Hold it.
Yep.
1 second.
So this is where we should be, right here.
Okay.
These look great out of fabric, by the way. If you have some fabric and you stiffen it, these make beautiful little wallets, little card cases out of fabric. So now you turn it over so that your solid, smooth, all smooth is on the top. And to make the one that's sort of like this, instead of doing the little hem like this, that's what I did, is I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it much farther over. I'm basically folding it until the straight part shows up. So I'm going to make a really large hem here. And so I've got this little, so it's not a little tiny, these are big pockets now. So when you do that though, you're going to need something to make kind of as a guide, because now I don't know how big it's supposed to be. So I take the card that I'm going to use, or if it's a credit card, something that I know that when my next fold, I don't want it to be much smaller than this. So my next fold, I just kind of make my crease so I'll be able to fit that card inside, but maybe give it a little room. I'm just going to give it a little room. So about there is where I'm going to make that fold. And so now I have it like this. And so you can see, I didn't fold it all the way over. I just kind of folded it more in half. And then I will take the ends and I'm going to slide them into the pockets. And of course, I didn't narrow it, so it's a little wobbly here. but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about narrowing it. But if you wanted to, you can always take that out and do this little narrowing move that seems to help it lay flat. So now it's going to lay better. So then I'm folding it in half, but remember, instead of folding it all the way in half, you just kind of, to make that spine edge, you fold about 1/4 of an inch. You make the ends about 1/4 of an inch off that top, and then crease really well. And with thick paper, you'd need a bone folder probably. And then when I turn it over, I'll do the same thing on the other side. And that will give you that spine, that really nice spine edge that you need to make it close nice. So this is the same case as the one I just folded. But you can see one has the little corner, open corner, and this one does not. So it just depends on how you put them together. And here, so you can see.